the larger issue that Randall talks about, what he fails to mention is those instances, and they happen all over this country, where a judge orders the arrest and then sets the bail or the bond in the amount of the civil judgment. So your price for getting out of jail is you pay the full amount of the judgment, and then, by the way, that gets turned over to the debt collector. That's really using the court as an arm of the collection industry, and that's just wrong.
Peter, in your experience, is this just happening in certain pockets of the country? Because, again, it appears Randall's having a different experience.
I'm glad Randall has a better experience. In fact, it happens all over the country. Numerous studies find it in the majority of states. Where the pockets are, it tends to be in small claims collection actions. A lot of times, in many states, a small claims judge is not even required to be a lawyer. And these are assembly line processes where hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of cases flood these courts for claims of $200 or $300 or $1,000. And it happens very fast. And that's where we see it most. And by the way, in these courts that are inundated, over 90% of the cases end in a default judgment, meaning nobody appeared. In less than 2% of the cases, studies show, do people actually have a lawyer.
And that's where we're, I think, trying to differentiate a little bit, Randall, between a medical debt versus a different type of debt. Because I don't have any, my thing is, if you go buy a car and you take out a loan to buy that car, you know how much you're spending. And if you completely ignore paying that back, I believe that there should be a system in place to make sure that you acknowledge that you're making every attempt to pay that loan. Where I have some issues, Randall, with medical debt, even if indirectly leading people to prison, is everyone in this country knows that when you have a medical emergency, you can never predict that. And when you call an ambulance, at that point in time, if you're having a heart attack, you have absolutely no idea what that ambulance service is going to charge you, what the hospital is going to charge you, what every element of the healthcare system is going to charge you. And in our country right now, the charges are inexplicably at times high. And what's happening, it appears to me, is that certain individuals with these unexpected medical events, they go into medical debt for, in some cases, astronomical sums, which to me is different than when you go take out a loan, again, to buy a car. You should know that, hey, I can afford a $15,000 car, but you can never know. If you have a massive medical problem, you may end up with a $50,000, $100,000 bill, Randall. And to me, even if indirect, you should never go to prison for that.
I cannot understand any reason to distinguish between medical debt and other types of debt. The example was given about a car loan. Somebody signed for a car loan. Well, I understand that there are certain instances where the ambulance is going to, you're not going to have a chance to sign a contract with the ambulance company before they provide their service. But I disagree. I don't see that there's a difference between medical debt and other types of debt. Once you're talking about a debt, people have agreed to pay for the service, or they're obligated to pay for the service based on the service being rendered, and they have to pay for the fair value.
There is a difference, and I'm going to acknowledge that the health care system is the reason in many ways there's a difference. So I will happily throw our healthcare system under the bus right now. So I want to acknowledge that I'm actually arguing that our healthcare system lacks transparency. And I don't know if you've ever had a medical emergency yourself or in your family, but it is different, Randall. I am so sorry, but if you are in a level 1 trauma where your life is on the line, you may be in the hospital for a month. And the truth is, if you're not well off, and oftentimes hospitals and healthcare system has become more predatory, it will ruin your life. And that is very different than going to buy a car. It just is. I mean, you have to acknowledge that, Randall.